Hey, Tiva. You don't have
Hi, Tiva. So really that whole Facebook group thing is not as scary as it sounds. So what's happening is if you have a group that you've abandoned or there's inactive moderators and admins, Facebook may invite up to 10 of the most active members to become admins. Now, if you're the owner, they can't remove you. So like you're safe. But the people who are inactive admins are going to get a notification from Facebook that says, hey, you have 7 days to say, I want to be an admin still. If you don't respond within those 7 days, then they're going to boot you unless you're the owner. So
only the owner bit makes it not quite as scary, but
yeah, it's only
definitely one of those like go and archive your group or whatever instead of leaving it just abandoned. It's like that's like 2 button clicks or something. It's not hard.
I'm a big fan of archiving the group so that way I don't have to worry about it later.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll get started in about a minute. So welcome to everybody who is here now. With the hiccups now. Of course I do. 1 minute before we go. Incredible.
That's how that works every time. It's like it's either hiccups or you have to pee. One of the two.
It's always how it is, but I get the hiccups like once a day. I'm just an adult baby. Like this one.
Notifications.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Figured it out. Welcome, Jasmine. We'll be getting started here in just a few seconds after I make this go live in our Facebook group. It is 12:05. We are ready. All right. Get everything situated. And we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Agencies Talk. This is a weekly digital marketer talk show hosted by our President Mark de Grasse, where we get FaceTime with agency owners about their zones of genius. Most of the time, I would say, hi, I'm Michelle Knight, the Digital Marketer Community Manager. But today, I am the host. So that means, hi, I'm Mark de Grasse, Digital Marketer President. And today I am joined by Christina Hooper, owner and CEO of Sparkitive. Christina is an expert in personal branding and content creation with some of the coolest hair. So normally these are pretty one-on-one, but today I'd really like this session to be super interactive. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat, or if you're brave, go ahead and hop off mute and just ask, just maybe don't interrupt Christina. But
you can interrupt me. I'm cool.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm excited.
Yes, very exciting. I'm feeling pretty great. I just got promoted to president about 2 minutes ago, so the world is great.
Well deserved.
I'm running life now. So
first you were like taking his place on TikTok, and now you're taking his place over here. It's just a steady takeover.
Really, you just don't be at your desk or where you're supposed to be, and I'm taking it. I will own it. But obviously, branding, content creation, your bread and butter. They're the things that you're good at. In fact, your slogan or your headline is that you help turn people's superpowers into sales. So how do you do that? Like, is there a secret sauce or like a tactic that you use that just makes it happen?
No, not exactly. So one of the things that we do to kind of approach it differently is think about how you can build your personal brand in a way that also gives you a scalable and sellable company. A lot of times when we talk about personal branding, it's like, let's just make you look like a rock star, right? Which is great. That's cool. You want to do that. But like, look at like a 10, 15, 20-year plan. And when you first start your business and you can use your personal brand to drive more revenue at your business, and then you can start making relationships with people that'll be like JV partners and affiliates, and they can also drive revenue at your business while you're building up all of your lead magnets and learning how to do social posts and do ads and all that other good jazz. And then eventually you're kind of separating from your business. It functions without you. You're selling the right type of products and services that it doesn't need you in the day-to-day anymore. And then you can either go just have more free time or go do more public speaking and consulting and one-on-one services, ultimately meaning that you can actually sell your business because you're not in it in the day-to-day anymore. So like that's kind of the whole big how we approach personal branding, is not just to make you look like a rock star, but help you actually make a scalable and sellable business.
All right. So then my question comes to like, how do you scale that? Like, at what point is it no longer a personal brand and it just kind of becomes a brand? Like how we have like Ryan Dyson digital marketer or Ryan Dyson scalable. Like at what point does the branding outgrow the person?
It kind of depends on the person and their business. So like if you're a marketing agency, you're pretty much two separate entities from the beginning. Like you always want to have your separate brand apart from who you are and be driving business back at your brand. If you're like a coach or consultant, you are your brand for a little while, and it's going to be a little trickier to separate, but not impossible. You basically have to come up with your own system, or like EOS, or like 12-week year, or some of these coaches and consultants that have come up with like their own system or methodology, so that you can train other people to coach at the level that you train, and you can start leveling yourself out of the company and eventually look at, if you wanted to, going to the point of like training other coaches to deliver your methodology. So it kind of depends on, where you're at. We said most of the people that we work with are in ACEs, they're agencies, coaches, consultants, or other experts. So it kind of depends on which way what they're doing and how we plan to scale them out. But that kind of makes sense. It feels like a really long-winded answer.
We got it. So then I'm kind of curious, like there are plenty of brands out there that aren't like personal brands and everything. So what are some of the benefits that come with establishing yourself, or benefits of personal branding? Like I know about establishing yourself as an authority in your niche and everything, gaining some credibility, but like, what are some of the other benefits that I might be missing?
You don't have to really sell to people so much anymore, which is probably one of the biggest benefits. So if you're trying to grow a company, then you're constantly trying to explain to people why they should hire your company, why your company is better than the other company, how you stack up against the competitors, et cetera, et cetera. When you're hanging out as a blue-haired weirdo and people are like, you're just fun, I just want to hire you for something. What does that look like? What kind of money do I need to give you? How often do I give it to you? And what do I get back? And like the conversation completely changes, because they're like, I don't know what you sell, but I need you in my life, because I'm 90% certain you can fix all the things that are wrong with me. And so you're not really having to sell anymore. That's probably like the biggest benefit, is just being able to exist, be weird, and have fun and make money without selling, because we hate selling. Nobody likes selling. There's a reason why sales coaches make a ton of money. Sales training gets bought all the time. Selling sucks. There's a few weirdos that love it. Most of us don't.
Speaking of weirdos that love it, that actually reminds me of the person who used to run our like sales org or monetization, Marcus Murphy. Some of y'all might know him because he was everywhere. Salesman to the core. Like never met someone that just like lived and breathed it the way he did. But I remember when he was training us for TNC, he's like, it's okay to not like have the same template for everyone, because, people are going to gravitate to people that they feel like they connect with. And at the time I did have purple and blue hair. And he's like, so the ones who like to color their hair and got like piercings and stuff, they're going to go to Michelle. And I was like, they shouldn't come to me because I'm not a salesperson, but I'll take them. But that's what it reminded me of, is that conversation we would always have with him.
Well, and I mean, that's true. They do gravitate towards you. So it's like, that's another benefit. You're actually starting to attract more of the people that you like working with, more of your people, instead of the ones that, it's like, oh my God, why did I hire them? I know I needed money, but that was such a bad decision, and you regret it. We've all had those clients. Every single one of us has had those clients. You don't really attract them because you're out there a whole bunch and you're being yourself and you're being weird, and they can kind of get to know you before even like wasting time on your calendar. Mm-hmm. So they're going to move along, and they're going to be like, yeah, I mean, like Gary Vee. Some people are like, oh my God, I love Gary Vee. And other people are like, he's an idiot. I don't know why anybody's listening to him. He's loud, he's crass, he's, whatever. So it's like, if your personality is big enough and weird enough and you're just you're going to attract the right kind of people. So it's like you almost, and like, digital marketers going to hate me. it almost doesn't matter quite so much that your avatar is perfect. Like you have your avatar worksheets and all that good jazz filled out, because you're going to naturally start attracting the right kind of people. So your avatar sheets don't have to be perfect. The gist needs to be there for like who you help. But yeah, there we go. Big weird personality. Yes, as a T, but you're not wearing your Superman hat. Like you came to a personal branding conversation without a piece of your personal brand.
I mean, I wasn't going to call him out on that, but she has a point there, Atiba.
Oh, I will. I will.
You have a brand.
Yep. He's building that up right now. He's going to be a speaker at TNC. He's got the graphic back officially and started telling people. There you go.
Very nice.
Got to get that personal brand on point.
Speaking of,
that's actually a really good point though, because like anytime you show up on camera, like mine's easy. I just have my hair and I'm good. I don't have to think about it. But if you have another element like your hat or like one lady I was talking with, like her thing is just red. She's got red lipstick and a red top of some kind, a red dress, a red shirt, a red sweater, a red something, but red lipstick and red shirt every time she comes on camera. So it's like when you figure out what one of your quirks is, you have to bring it every single time you're on camera, whether it's you presenting or you're just showing up, and turn your camera on when you're in meetings.
So mine is dogs. Always have a dog on hand. And I thought I did, but he abandoned me. So now I am left without my brand.
You need a stuffed dog as a backup. So you can
just to have like on, I feel like that'll just give off too far, like a weird vibe, like a stuffed animal on demand. Maybe a little.
I had another lady had googly goggles and she would put them on at least once every time she was on camera. Like the big googly eye, weird, like at least once while she was on camera, those would appear every single time.
You know, not for me, but I respect the hustle. Let's see. So does that mean that like the blue is officially part of the brand? Like how Haley Williams has like the orange and pink hair and Goldie Chan has like the neon yellow and green. So like the blue is.
Yeah, I don't think I could change it right now. I'm fairly certain that nobody would recognize me if I just put on like a brown wig and just like sat here. Nobody would know who I was. And it was unintentional, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things that ends up happening with most people from like a branding perspective is they don't go about it with intention. It just happens. You know, it's like they're dressed a certain way or showing up a certain way, and then, or they're putting out more and more content, and now all of a sudden they're getting asked to speak and they're getting asked to present, and it wasn't intentional. They weren't asking, they didn't come prepared. They didn't even know how to explain their business. They didn't have they didn't have their little one-line elevator pitch. They ramble when somebody's like, so what do you do? And, they're not intentional about it. And I think just getting intentional can fast track that path that most people end up on by at least 2 or 3 years.
See, with that statement, I am now understanding why y'all were roasting me so hard yesterday for my possum in a skunk costume on my Twitter header. I just thought it was cute. Now I understand the why behind the roast. I don't know that I'm going to change it, but I get it. And I now appreciate that. Atiba says that the brand is the natural you.
Kind of, sort of. I feel like it's good to be a little awkward, but you do need to have a little bit of polish. So maybe it's not necessarily, it's a good way to say that. The brand is the natural you, but your business model doesn't need to be your default natural state of business model, because most of us are just going around and we're selling our brain for money as much as possible. And there's only so much time in our schedule. There's only so much brain juice to go around. We run out of mental calories. Like if your business model isn't strong, then your brand kind of suffers because you can't represent yourself the right way. So yeah, your brand is your natural you, your personal brand. Your business model needs work. Most of the time, most of the people that I talk to are either completely out of love with their business now, like they just don't like it. It feels more like a drain on their time, a drain on their energy. It's not making money that they want them to make. And they just don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. Or they like it, but they're at capacity. Like they like what they do, they're helping people, but they just cannot figure out how to like remove themselves from having to meet with every client or look over a lot of the work. So yeah, you can have your natural you personality brand, but you've got to fix the business model thing and know what you sell and how you sell it. And you don't have to be a salesman, but you do have to understand what it is and who it benefits and think through that aspect of it, if that makes sense.
Got it. So dogs at the forefront of all of my social media, but only use them appropriately in the business.
There you go. There you go. Know how to sell the dogs correctly for the right people who need the right type of dog, and to tell people not to buy a dog if they're a cat person.
Perfect. Now, just for those who are kind of just joining us now or recently, if you have a question, please feel free to drop it in chat if you want me to ask it, or if you're down to hop on camera or just the mic, feel free to unmute. This is a very interactive call. So whatever you want to say or ask, or, complain about me, whatever, hop off mute. Let's see, like my last question about branding, because I do want to dive into content at some point on this call. What are some of the personal brand questions that our certified partners can ask themselves when they're figuring out the next steps? Like, what do they want to be known for? Problems that they want to solve, et cetera, et cetera.
The biggest thing that we do with most people is throw away every product and service that they sell. We're just like, let's just take all of those off the table. Let's just wipe the slate clean. Like, not literally, but from like a mental planning exercise. And then let's think about, what are the things that you actually like doing? What are things you've been good at your entire life? What are passions? Like the books that you like to read, what are they typically about? Movies that you like to watch, people that you like to talk to, communities that you actually have fun in. Like, where do you get your joy in your day? And then like, who do you like to work with and who do you hate to work with? Like, who are the clients that when the phone rings, you're not like, oh crap, them again, and like dodging it. Like, who are the ones that you actually like, oh man, it was so great getting to meet with her today. Man, Jasmine just gave me so much energy and it was exciting and it was awesome. And start thinking about that. And then let's like, okay, what's the marriage? What's the bridge between the two? The things that you have fun all day doing, and the people that you want to work with, and how can you help them in some way? Now let's build up a scalable product catalog around that. And I say product catalog, but doesn't, because like we have info products, we have physical products. Like, we're talking with somebody that a planner makes total sense for them. And we didn't uncover that until we started looking at their book. And when we started looking at writing their book, it's like, holy crap, you could easily create a daily planner that you can sell. It's like a membership subscription service. So when I say products, it's services, it's physical products, it's info products, it's whatever, but you want a scalable product catalog, a way to make money that doesn't involve you touching every client. And once we know who you like to work with, we know what your secret sauce is, it's easier to create that product and service catalog. So that's kind of how you get started. From there, it's just defending your warm fuzzies. How do you make sure that you don't fall out of love with your business? Because if you fall out of love with it, it's not going to grow. You're going to quit putting out content. You're going to quit talking to people. You're going to quit trying to bring on new clients. It's just not, your staff is going to feel it. So how do you defend your warm fuzzies? That could be like limiting your calendar so that you only have so many meetings in a day. It could be blocking out at least a day a week for creative pursuits or creating content or whatever. How do you defend your warm fuzzy feelings? And then how do you get your messaging across so you can explain it? And then what's your visibility plan, your marketing? How are you going to get out there in front of the right people with the right message to sell the right things so that you love your business? I think that breaks it down in about the simplest way possible.
Yeah, that's not, lots of nodding heads. I think you did a good job.
Audience of bobbleheads. That's what you're shooting for. If you're doing something and you have an audience of bobbleheads, you're doing something right.
Exactly. I do that when I listen to people speak, is like, I may not interact a lot, but you'll see me like, yeah.
Well, that's part of the coming off camera thing. I gotta tell you, my life changed when I started coming to things like this, and I turned my camera on and I turned my mic on. And Atiba can tell you, because he was already there with his mic on and his camera on. And then I started showing up to the room and I was like, quit hiding, and actually came out. And now I'm here on Agencies Talk with Michelle. Like, dude, it'll change your life. It's cool.
Dreams come true. So I know I said I'd stop talking about branding.
You just have to wish upon a Michelle and not upon a star, and then your dreams will actually come true.
Yeah, if I can make it happen, I'm gonna do it. But I know I said stop talking about branding, but I find it very interesting. So now I'm kind of curious, like, what are some of the most common mistakes that you see people making when they're trying to start establishing their personal brand? Like, in the moment, they're like, yeah, that makes total sense, I'm going to do that. And then it turns out to be something that kind of takes away from it.
They don't do enough with video. They don't turn their camera on enough. I mean, video in every capacity, from like putting video out on social media, including video in your blogs. Like, the number of blog articles that agencies put out talking about the importance of video that don't have a video on the blog. That's a pet peeve of mine. Nikki, she knows.
Nikki, like, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, like, people can't get your personality. Like, you can be the quirkiest, funnest writer in the world, but without your personality coming through, I'm like, can you imagine if I'd have just written that? Like, it is so frustrating. The number of agency owners that I see that don't, write blogs about video and don't include video on the blog, that would not have had the same sass. Mickey would have read that and went like, instead of being like, video is like really important. So it's something you need to do. And then not having a clear call to action, a clear alignment. So when we're really passionate about things, we tend to just talk about things, but we have no way to take the things that we're talking about and move them into services. We end up talking about just dumb stuff. A certain amount of that is okay, especially on social media, like TikTok, Instagram Reels, things like that. If you can just be like, oh my God, I just got off the phone with somebody else again, and they did the same stupid thing, and I'm so tired of this. And if you're doing this to people, you need to quit. That's not going to generate sales, but it's going to attract the right kind of people to me. So some of that's okay. But you do need to be putting stuff out that is going to lead over to payable services. I mean, like my little spiel about like how you can get started fixing your personal brand. I can easily pivot that over into a VIP day that we do, where we're sitting down and we're fixing all 6 of those things and getting everything on point and getting your like business model fixed just by talking about those things. So you got to think about the topics you can talk about that feed over into a paid service and create a paid service to help people fix it. That was one of the biggest things. Like most people need to have some form of like audit, single day, fixed result kind of thing when you're doing something with your personal brand, because people are going to want to pick your brain. They're going to want to sit down with you and get things straight and not necessarily hire you all the time. So if you can put a payable thing in there that they can do that with, it's great. That was one of my challenges, because people would come to me and it's like they didn't love their business anymore. So business audit didn't really work, because it's like, well, you don't love it. So why are we auditing and trying to fix the thing you don't love? I can't do a marketing blueprint, because why are we marketing something you don't want to grow, or you can't grow because like you don't have the right scalable stuff in place. So it's like, I can't even make you a proposal. I can't sell you anything. Even though I know I can help you, I can't sell you anything. So get kind of creative on some of that kind of stuff would be another strategy. Like, I mean, we're doing a VIP day, fixing that and giving them a business model so that we can then give them a proposal to be like, okay, if you would like me to help you, here's what paying me to continue to do that would look like. So get kind of creative on how you can use your brain juice and use your influence.
Yes. Jennifer made a point in chat when you were talking about the different, like having a blog post, but no video. And she said, it's because it's in the reader's voice and not in your voice. And that was a light bulb moment, because I've been writing some, and when my coworkers or some of my friends read it, they were like, yeah, this is definitely you. I could hear you saying these things to me as I read it. And then I realized, like, someone who doesn't know me, they're going to read this and it's just going to sound crazy to them. It's just going to sound goofy.
Well, it's like you can get away with a little bit more writing if you have enough personal branding stuff out there. Like I stalk Molly Mahoney religiously. And so I kind of know her voice. So now when I read her writing, I'm reading in her voice instead of mine. But yeah, it's absolutely true. That's why people like all these copywriters are like, oh, you have to resonate with your reader and whatever, because we want their internal voice to sound as much like our voice as possible. So we're trying to become them, when it's like, why? Screw the ones that you're not going to have fun with. Write in your voice and speak in your voice and include more video, and they're going to resonate with you. If they do, then they're going to become clients at some point. It could take years, which is why we really put an emphasis on like raving fans. How are you going to make people smile at least once every time they talk to you? Like, I didn't do my job right if you don't all smile at least once while you're talking to me. You know what I mean? Because like, you might not buy from me now. You may never buy from me, but you may know somebody who could buy from me. So it's like, really think about raving fans, happy moments. It's like, I hate how people do the big, long, sad, transformation origin story where it's like 70% life sucked and 30% like, and then it was awesome. And you can be me too if you just buy my like program for $4.97. What it like, get rid of the 70% suckage and say like, hey, I've had up and downs. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about how we could get you past your downs and into your ups and like share your story in a different way. So I don't know, that was a whole nother soapbox moment. Sorry.
Why did you have me there though? I was like, yeah, definitely. Wallet, where is it? I love it. Laura's asked a few good questions in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and drop those. Before I do, I love Molly Mahoney. I want to be her when I grow up. She's amazing. I
If
fell
you
in love with
DM
her.
her,
Told me
she
she did.
answers.
I know. I'm in her
Which
group.
is like the coolest thing ever, that you can DM her on like Instagram or Facebook and she actually answers. And it's like,
LinkedIn.
she's still
and
my heart.
I'm trying to get her into DM stuff because I remember I saw her at TNC a few years ago. I think like our first remote year, and she sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow to introduce herself, and I was like, I love you. I'm done.
Yes.
I don't need anything else. You're amazing. But Laura was asking, I can be multiple people. He's asking if I want to be Molly or Mark. I can be whoever I want. But Laura was asking great questions in here. Do you have any ideas for having your personal brand infiltrate your entire organization, starting from vision, mission, and throughout company messaging?
Meet with your team. Done. That's just things. No, and I mean, I say this because like I hit a point where my business was mostly running without me. And I was like, yes, score dreams. This is what we want to do. And so like my team leaders were meeting with the rest of my team. And I kind of had people on my team I hadn't even met yet and I wasn't hanging out with. And so I started doing weekly staff meetings and I was like, that's cool. This is awesome. And now they start kind of getting on board. They get to know me. They get to experience my personality. We also do internal company videos where I'm like actually speaking to the team. So when we do something cool, we're doing that event on August the 8th, that we're the Gurus Gather event. And so it's like I made a video to tell my team all about what it is and why we're doing it and what we hope for people to get out of it. And like, you know, the whole business case for it and all that, and made a video and sent that off to the team. You know, then doing stuff like office hours, you know, where I'm in my office for specific, we have an office in Gathertown. So to make that a little clear, we have like virtual office space in Gathertown. So I'm my avatar, me personally, is sitting in my office for like an hour every day where they can come by and talk to me. So it's like just being there with your team and making it a point to actually talk about why we're doing the things we're doing and to talk about the clients and what we're hoping to get, you know, for that client, what the result we're hoping to get, why we're excited about that new client, and just talking with the team. I mean, that's, you know, you can document your core values, you can document your mission and vision. All of those things are good. They're great, but none of that is going to trump actually being present for your team in a cheerleader capacity.
So you would say like motivational, like maybe like pick a day of the week and have like a 10-minute like motivational like session potentially, or something that brings the entire group together so they can visually see you and see what's going on. Because obviously not everybody in your organization has blue hair. That was a joke. Anyway,
No. We do have one with pink hair.
Yeah, so I get it. It makes a lot of sense. I appreciate you answering that question. And then the other question that I asked was, how do you encourage the faces of your client companies that don't like to do video to actually do video and, you know, get comfortable with it? Like maybe do you start with like snippets of them first? Like maybe you get them on video saying a quote or something, put some cool content around it, and then kind of show them how they can start to like implement the video into their either daily routine or, you know, however that's going to look.
I think one of the biggest things is modeling it for them and explaining why, like in a way they can really understand. Like a lot of times when we explain why on a very technical basis. We're like, oh, it's so good for SEO. It's so good for personal branding. It's so good for, like, when we talk about, hey, if you do more video, then you can do less selling. You have less sales calls. Your sales cycle is shorter. You won't have to sell to people as hard. You know, if you write video, like make videos, then we can write content off of your videos for you. So you don't have to spend time writing content, because most clients suck at writing content and they're not very good at it and they don't want to do it. Or even if they do want to do it, it takes them way longer than it should. And it's like, especially when you're dealing with people whose hourly rates are $250 and up, like $250 to $1,500 an hour to talk to them. Do you really want to spend an hour, 2 hours writing a blog article, or do you want to spend 10 minutes making a loom? You know, we can give them, you know, VSLs, we'll actually write the scripts for them. They can use teleprompters. They can be awkward and weird, and they can see me being awkward and weird. Like I finally had to just start making videos myself, even though I was uncomfortable, because they need to see me being uncomfortable so that they feel comfortable being uncomfortable. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense.
And then I know Atiba does like interview style stream because he's way better at getting clients to do video than I am. I'm kind of just like, do it or don't work with me, or like do it or don't expect as good of results. Like, you know, your results will be here if you do it, and they're going to be here if you don't. Pick, but it's not going to be my fault because I'll do everything I can do to help you. And I'm really blunt. That's my style. But I'm attracting clients that are like, okay, I hear you. Yeah, Jasmine just turned her camera on. She's my pink haired weirdo. So she's on my team.
I like that one. You could just always like pull the Uzair, like at partner training day. I was walking around looking for someone, and I was about to ask Uzair if he had seen them, but instead somehow got pulled into an interview. I don't know what happened from the moment I like said his name to when there was a microphone in my face, but it happened. It's just a blur.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was my hack for partner training day. I made no video myself, in case y'all noticed, but I'm in digital marketers videos. I'm in Atiba's videos. I'm in Uzair's videos. So you just have to walk up and be like, hi. And I'm incredibly introverted. Don't get me wrong. I used to hyperventilate anytime I had to talk to people. Like if I had to get in front of a room of people and present, I would literally hyperventilate. My whole chest and neck would get blotchy red. Like it was ridiculous. So it's like, if I can pull it off, you can pull it off. You just kind of have to do it.
I've got like this weird reverse stage fright where like the smaller the crowd, the more nervous I am.
Yeah.
However, the larger, if there's lights, you can't see them. That is the trick. You can't see them. So therefore they're not there. And it's so easy.
It's like my trick when I was presenting in front of people is to try and get to know them. So I didn't have to do it at DMCP day because I've gotten a lot more comfortable. I was still nervous, but not as bad as when I first started talking. When I first started presenting in front of people, I had to just go around the room and get a couple people to tell me who they were so that I could talk to them the whole time, because then my brain went into, you know, agency branding, let's fix your business mode. So like whatever topic I was talking about, I'm like, hey, you could totally apply the strategy this way to your business, but you would need to do it this way for your business. And then I became more like diagnosing and prescribing and like in my comfort zone, instead of just like, hi, let me go present some stuff on some slides that you don't know what I'm talking about, but you're going to nod and scribble notes furiously and not do anything. Like, you know, it was way easier to talk to actual people.
Yeah, and public speaking is a lot different than video speaking as well. Because I was a casino presenter for years. And so I presented to, you know, rooms full of 35 and then up to, you know, hundreds of people at any given time. But when you're on video, it gives people the opportunity, or so the perception is, it gives people the opportunity to scrutinize you more. So Michelle said she has reverse stage fright, but that's a very normal type of fright when you're a public speaker, regardless of where you're speaking or how many you're speaking to, because the less people there are, it's the perception that you're being scrutinized more. So
yeah, and you have to get that result for, it's like if you're trying to make at least half the room happy and smile, if there's only like 4 people in the room, that's like, that's some pressure versus, you know, 400 people in a room or 4,000 people in a room. Well, then like the other trick you can do is like get them to be a podcast guest or get them to create other content. Cause like what you just said, it's a whole lot different. Like me sitting here and talking and Michelle's asking me questions and it's like, holy, I'm going to go back and look at this recording. I'm going to be like, okay, let's just go say the thing I said again. It's like, so are you trying to figure out how to get started with your personal brand? That's a great question. Let's talk about it. And then just blah, blah, blah. I stole that trick from this chick on TikTok, and that's made me a lot more comfortable. So she had like 2 tricks. She said one of the things that she does is she just says something absolutely random the moment she presses record, because you're going to trip all over the first thing you say, which I think Digital Marketer caught me saying that was in the studios, and they put that video out somewhere. I think it's on TikTok or Instagram. But it's like, you just say something random, like, I like grilled cheese sandwiches. Okay, are you trying to figure out how to grow your personal brand? It's a great topic. Let's talk about it. And then cut out the sandwiches. But it gets you past that first little dumb thing you're going to trip all over. So I stole those 2 tricks, like say that. And then they're like, hey, here's the question. Great question, great topic. Let's talk about it. And that's helped with that awkward, because like when you're refilming what you're saying, isn't it always like the first 30 seconds of freaking everything where you're like, stop, record, stop, record, or you just have to cut out like 5 minutes of you stumbling all over your tongue.
Well, and that's why I was going to say, that's why, Christina, you ask people like their name, or you when people first walk into the room, like if you're public speaking, but even I would think on Zoom or, Google Meets or any of those, if you're in a room like we are right now with maybe like 10 or 15 people, the best thing to do as the speaker is to get at least 2 pieces of information from each individual, because if you have that information, then you can actually talk to them, like you were saying. So like you can bring up somebody's personal background just in little bits and pieces, because then it's more conversational and people tend to relate to that. Like they pick up on that, and then they feel a lot more comfortable in the session.
Well, I mean, that's part of getting really comfortable with a specific networking group too. Think about all the things we pay for. So it's like, how many things that have a community do you pay for? And like, how present are you in the community? Like, I made it a point to show up to as many digital marketer things as I can, because I know most of these people. So when I'm talking, it's more relevant. I'm amongst friends. Like, I mean, presenting at DMCP Day, I knew like half to 2/3 of the room. So it was a lot easier for me to be like, hey, it's my friends. I see you guys all the time. And like, so I wasn't as nervous. And you can get those nuggets out and then just go back and watch your recordings and then just go say it again. And, end up creating content that way where you're a lot more comfortable. That's why you'll see even speakers at like big events. One of the first things they'll usually do is like, hey, who's here to learn about this? Or who has an agency, or because it's easier to start with questions instead of being like, hi, I'm here. Here's my entire life story and why you should listen to me. And now let's dive in. It's a lot easier to start with, why are you here and what do you want?
So why are y'all here? What do you want?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
To be more like you,
No,
Michelle.
you can't ask a question at all, Mickey. No.
Just leave. No, I wanted to ask about the podcast, because I love your podcast, and as a fellow podcast host, I'm curious about really like goals, expectations, how you use it for content, how it attributes to your brand, like how it kind of plays into your overall marketing strategy, and how all of us can maybe do the same.
Well, I started it because of Content-Based Networking by James Carberry. So if you haven't read that book, grab that book. Fantastic book.
Can you repeat what it's called?
We don't have Garrett here to drop the link. Holy crap.
Sorry, I'm your Garrett today.
There we go. Content-Based Networking by James Carberry. He kind of approaches it in a little bit of a different fashion. So we don't really care if anybody listens to the episodes. What we care about is making relationships with the people that come on the show. So we're very strategic about who we book, who comes on as a guest. And I will say I was not great at this to start with, because like you just have to build the muscle. It's like, do as many episodes as you can, do them as fast as you can. Because I'm following that strategy, I'm not publishing an episode once a week or whatever. I'm publishing it as soon as we get done with it, because like I'm trying to build a relationship with the person. And the sooner I can get their episode out with it still looking professional, don't just stick it out there when it doesn't look good, like the raw recording, but like within reason, get it out pretty quickly. That way we have that relationship. We have multiple touch points with them where we're like, hey, here's your stuff. That's probably one of the biggest strategies that we're trying to do better with. And then I'm also looking for the things that I say, because like the really good guests, and I'm sitting here talking with the guests, and it's like we're bantering back and forth, some nuggets of things that need to turn into content on my own channels. Like I can cut it out of the podcast, or I can just re-record that bit again in a way that makes sense versus being like a weird chunk of a podcast. So I'm starting to go back through our episodes and look for that. I wasn't great about that. What I should have been doing, and what I've started doing now, is when I record the episode, as soon as the episode is done, I go ahead and jot down some things that happened that I could turn into other content ideas, and kind of make a list of those and have those ready to go. I'm starting to also chop up the podcast and make the guests look amazing. So I'm like, hey, this person shared this thing, and it gives me a chance, again, because I'm trying to be more strategic with the people that I bring onto my show. So I'm not just trying to put out a crap ton of content. I'm trying to make a good relationship with the guest. I'm starting to take like, hey, so-and-so shared 3 amazing tips around this. So-and-so answered this really common question about this. And I'm taking those whole chunks. I don't necessarily care. Like I put it on whatever platform I can put it on. Like TikTok, you've got up to 3 minutes. Instagram Reels, you have 1.5 minutes. YouTube Shorts, you have 1 minute. If it's beyond 3 minutes, then it will just go up on YouTube. I'm putting it to wherever it fits, which is probably not what a lot of people do, but my relationship is with the guest. And then we make them look amazing. And I'm showcasing my superpower when I record. So when I bring someone on and I interview them, I stopped prepping. You know, usually I was prepping with questions and things like that. And one of my superpowers is, let's understand your business, what it is you're trying to sell, and how we can position you in a way that would sell it. So now I've started doing kind of a little mini session like that in the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes before we record. And they're like, holy crap, I've never thought about it like that. Or I didn't think about that question relating to that. And so I'm getting to showcase me. And then we start recording, and I don't let the guest introduce themselves until the end. I don't ask that question at the very beginning. You know, most people are like, hey, you know, so Mickey, tell us a little bit about you and what you do. Nobody flipping cares yet. So like we dive straight into questions that make you look amazing, help people understand exactly what you do, position you as somebody that's like good in your field, because that's what I do. So like, that's what we're doing. And then at the end, so, okay, so somebody's absolutely convinced that they need to hire you. How can they go about giving you money? And like going ahead and letting you open it up. So that's my whole, that was a lot.
That's genius.
I have notes, so
It's being recorded. Yeah.
If I had light bulbs, they'd be going off right now.
And you do the same thing as a guest too, by the way, to flip that. So one of the things I just started doing, and I love it, was I took a screenshot of me with the host. And then I was like, hey, go follow them. And I was like, go link to their stuff. Like, so if you go look at my LinkedIn, I just did this with somebody the other day. It's my first time trying it, but the response was really good. So he's very happy with it. And of course, that's going to encourage him to produce the episode a little bit faster as well, because like I've done put it out to all the world. He's seen that I'm going to promote it because I'm promoting it before he's even produced it. And I did it that same day. I just took a little snippet. I've got a little Canva template. I can just pop the snippet in. And then I'm just like, hey, I had an awesome episode. We talked about this today. And like, go follow him, be subscribed so that you know when that episode drops and whatever. So he already knows I'm going to put the effort into promoting it. It's already built goodwill with the host. Like there's some things you can do like that as a guest. And then coming prepared to make yourself look awesome. Come prepared with questions they can ask you. Come prepared with how they can tee you up and explain you. It makes it easier on them. They appreciate it.
Yeah. You know, Marcus Murphy had mentioned making the transition in podcast hosting to start bringing in guests who are potential clients instead of necessarily like subject matter experts. And like that, the way that you explained it makes so much sense now.
Potential clients or referral partners. Yeah. So look for people that are in complementary industries. Like I'm a particular type of business coach. When I come in and I look at, you know, how can we fix your business model? I'm looking at how can we fix it and then do marketing, which means I tailor really well with other pieces. Like if I notice that you have a problem with like your staff communication, I have someone I can refer you to. If you have a problem with internal processes, I have someone I can refer you to. If you really suck at video, I have a TBA that I can refer you to. If you know, so it's like I'm plugging in other experts to fill in gaps. So think about how you can like, you know how they talk about the T-shaped marketer at Digital Marketer?
Yeah.
So like a lot of us are also business coaches. So T-shaped business coaches, like we dive deep in marketing. What are the other areas that somebody needs help with in their business? What are the other marketing pieces that we don't want to touch? Go be strategic and find someone else who doesn't like the part that you like and go get on their podcast or ask them to be a guest on yours. So not just clients, but also other relationships that you can build. And then like, if you have your own podcast, you can also use it for guest swapping. Because if you know how hard it is to get on other people's podcasts as a guest, because most people have more guests than they need. So it's actually really hard. A lot of people are like I had to block mine down. I don't think you can book on my podcast until September, unless I give you the VIP link. So if I'm like guest swapping with you, then I created a special link that'll let you jump the line and we'll put out some extra episodes. But that's helped me get on some more shows. And then I started like a guest swapping domino chain with the last guy that I did. Because I was like, hey, I know like we're swapping. So I know you're looking to be on more podcasts. I know a couple other people that have podcasts that would be happy to guest swap with you as well. Would you like me to make an introduction? And then if you know anybody, I would love an introduction. And since we're both trying to go get more guesting and we both have podcasts, it started like this whole domino chain, which is awesome.
That's amazing. I had a few different thoughts during that. One, y'all know Jay Vix. That's how he uses his podcast. It's to lead generation. It's for referrals, all of that good stuff. Basically, no one hops on there unless they would be like a good customer for him or a good referral. Amazing. Second, I love all of this information about like being a good host and being a good guest, because there are some people that are amazing at that. I don't like to give Garrett a lot of compliments just because I like to mess with him, but Garrett is actually one of those people that is just like a natural interviewer. Like I come up with questions beforehand because I don't trust myself. Garrett will just hop on a call last minute, have a full conversation, just rolls with it, and it ends up being fantastic. So I'll give him that one. Let's see. Laura actually said some recent radio shows that she participated in also intro guests at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So something is being done right, not by me, but something is being done right out there.
Well, I mean, being a good guest is always important. I mean, I know like even Michelle, you commented that when you asked for my headshot for this, I sent you organized Google Drive folder with my headshot as well as like photos of me pointing at things so you could use whatever to make your life easier. Anytime you can make the person who's giving you a stage to speak on's life easier, you're going to get on more stages. They're going to be more willing to bring you back, you know? So it's like, be as helpful and as nice to the people that are doing that for you as you can.
Yes. And just like a digital marketer plug, if y'all are looking to be on more podcasts, we've got a whole podcast that partners take priority on. In fact, Wally just posted it that he was on it. I will take care of that, Mickey. She applied and hasn't heard back yet. That's probably because I've been in meetings all week.
I told you have to make a wish on Michelle. So you don't just apply, you message Michelle and say, Michelle, I love you so much. Can you check on my application, please?
Yes, flattery gets you everywhere. No, but that's awesome. I mean, podcasts are one of those things that I think like everybody knows, like, oh, I should be on those, but they don't utilize them well. Like I've been on 2 podcasts. Have I done
every marketing tactic ever that everybody knows they should do it? They should do video, they should do blogging, they should do a challenge, they should do a webinar, they should do a podcast. Everybody knows they should do it and nobody has strategy for it. So more than one strategy. Like, I mean, have lots of them. Like, look at what we just talked about with the podcast. We found like JV partners, affiliate partners. We found guests or clients. We found topics that we could speak on as, you know, as an expert by the things that you say. When that's at least 4 strategies just off of launching your own podcast. Not to mention that you have your own email that can go out every time you do a podcast, that you can put the podcast on your website as a blog so that you're putting more SEO content along with the transcript. You can take it and put it on your YouTube. The number of people that have an audio only podcast, again, is like, what is wrong with you? Especially when they record the video and don't put it on YouTube and just do an audio only podcast. Like, if you're doing that, fix it now. Because like the number of people that have audio processing disorders for one, and then YouTube for SEO, like, why are you recording the video if you're not going to use it? You're crazy. Put it up.
This feels like a personal attack on digital marketer, but I'll take it.
Yeah, everybody's like, have you listened to the Digital Marketer podcast? I'm like, no, because I need video.
Fair enough.
I haven't listened to any of them. I don't even think I've listened to mine, if mine's up yet. I don't know if mine's up yet. I did record one. I don't think it's got published. But I haven't listened to any of them because I can't. I need the video. I can't. It just doesn't. I need something to occupy my eyeballs or I can't pay attention.
I'm not a podcast person myself either. And I feel bad about it because like I want to listen to everyone's podcasts, but I can't just sit here and listen to it. I want to
pause them at weird places and see the faces they make so that I can be entertained.
I really break mine up into like 5-minute or 3-minute videos for YouTube for that reason, because not everyone wants to watch the whole thing straight. Some people just want the hot takes, right? Like stole that from Joe Rogan.
Well, and the titles are sexier too, because it's a specific problem. Like, you know, Atiba sharing his 3 top tips for creating, you know, more video. Yeah, versus like, hey, I had a conversation with Atiba about why you should do more with video. You know, like that's sexy, that's good, that's great, but it's so generic. But if I had like all of the hot take moments with the sexy titles, I'm starting to go back through all of my podcast episodes and do that, which is also reigniting relationships with guests that I had a year ago. So I'm not posting all of the snippets right now. Like I'll cut 3 or 4 snippets from each episode and I'm staggering them out. So I made a whole thing in ClickUp where I've got all of the content and then I have like a task for each podcast episode. And then I have like 3 or 4 snippets that I can create. I'm not even bothering creating them all right away. But like 3 or 4 snippets that I can create. And then I'll go ahead and share like one now, one in like 3 or 4 months, another one in like 3 or 4 months, so that I'm like continuing that relationship with the guest.
Now, a different question on topic, I swear. You mentioned how like difficult it can be to get on a podcast because there's a plethora of guests in existence. So are there any, like, I hate using the word tactics, I've said it so many times, but are there any like secret tricks or anything about getting on podcasts other than the digital marketer one, because we love y'all and we want y'all there?
Yeah, like any witchy secret potions that we can blow up to make that happen. Yeah, that was a joke from me and Michelle from earlier. Podmatch is really good, Mickey, but I will tell you a hack to Podmatch. Because like whenever you have someone that is looking for guests on there and you message them and you wait and most of them don't ever answer you. And if they do, it's a couple months later and it's really annoying. Go, like, it has all the links to all their stuff. Go find them on Instagram. Go DM them on Instagram, specifically Instagram, because for some weird reason, Instagram and TikTok, the business owners respond. They've delegated out most of their like Facebook, LinkedIn, that kind of stuff, but like Instagram and TikTok, they'll respond. So go find one of those, go DM them. Do not mention Podmatch at all. Go watch at least one of their episodes and so that you can say something about it. Like, hey, I was watching some of your episodes. I really liked the one where you talked to so-and-so about whatever. And I think that you would be a great guest for my podcast. Would you be interested in swapping? Because I think I could really bring some value to your audience and talk about some topics like whatever. And so like, it has nothing to do with Podmatch, but they're looking for guests because they're on Podmatch, and Podmatch will also show you if they like are also looking to be a host, and it'll give you all the links to all their stuff. So you're not like researching like Apple Podcast or whatever, trying to figure all that out for yourself. It's just got it all nice and summarized for you, but don't contact them through Podmatch. And anytime you can show a host that you are listening to their episodes, they will prioritize you as a guest. And if you're going to also like let them be on yours, now you have jumped to like the top of the pile. Like I've gotten interviews as a guest booked within like a week and a half of doing that, which is ridiculous versus going straight through podcast or Podmatch, whatever, or any of the podcast services. They all kind of do it. Podmatch is one a lot of people are using, but there's a couple other ones. And they all show you who's a host and who's a guest and have all the links. And they even tell you, Podmatch even tells you who they're looking for as a guest. So you don't even really have to think about this too hard. Like, hey, I'm really good at talking about XYZ topic related to what they want out of it as a guest. Like, it's like 5 minutes to make a really personalized message.
That's awesome.
The one thing I found
Don't
too,
mind me just
throw in,
opening Podmatch.
So in Podmatch, they allow you to record and post like a pitch for yourself on your guest profile. And I like, as a host, I am way more likely to pick guests who have their pitch video up because I get a real sense of like what they're looking for and who they are. And so what I did was create mine. But now for people who aren't on Podmatch, when I want to be on their podcast, I send them that too, because it gives them a sense of who I am and what it'd be like to have me as a guest.
Well, and if they have an assistant, a lot of times you'll reach out and they'll be like, talk to my assistant.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with the assistant. Again, be really nice to the assistant because they're making it all happen. Be really organized to be like, here's some questions they can ask me. Here's something they can use to introduce me with. Here's any headshots that you want to use to create graphics with. Like, here, make it really nice and organized for the assistant. Then when the episode is over, reach back out to the assistant and be like, that was so great. Thank you so much for getting me booked. I'm looking for other like guest opportunities. Do you know anybody else that maybe she's been on that I might could like speak to? Would you be willing to make an introduction by any chance? Yeah, I'm telling you, they're the gateway people. Like I wrote an article about this the other day. The people who get you on the stages are the gateway people. You've got to be super nice to them.
Don't mind me heading over to the blog, finding a link. That's pretty amazing. So we've got like 3 more minutes. So if anyone has a question, feel free to hop off mute. Christina, if you have some last minute knowledge bombs that will just blow our minds, let's go.
Oh, holy crap. Take a screenshot right now, post it out on social media, tag me, and say that you learned something from me today, and tag Digital Marketer, especially if you do it on TikTok. If you go make a quick little TikTok video and tag Digital Marketer, they are super nice right now and they are following everybody back. So, and they're resharing stuff. Logan over there, shout out to Logan in case she sees this. She's resharing stuff as well. So you can get reshared out on their Instagram and their TikTok. If you go make a quick reel and be like, hey, I was over there at Agencies Talk today. We learned some knowledge bombs from Christina. Tag Digital Marketer, tag me. Get you a little bit more exposure.
Yes.
Hopefully you remember at least one thing I taught you today. So go pick
I
one
will
and make a
be
TikTok. Put it up on Instagram. Although make sure you remove the Instagram. Like there's some websites you can use. Like if you record it on TikTok, there's some websites you can upload the TikTok to that will remove the TikTok watermark so that you can then put it on YouTube Shorts and put it on Instagram Reels, because it won't get as much exposure if it has the TikTok icon on it. So if you just Google remove TikTok icon from videos, you'll find websites you can upload it to.
I love it. This was so much fun. I might just take this job from Mark permanently. But so big takeaways for me. One, being authentic. That is so important when you're building your personal brand. Video is basically a non-negotiable at this point. Yes, Atiba's giving me double thumbs up. That's how I know I'm right. Let's see. Podcasts are a really great way to not just like help build your authority, but also to kind of help you with like referrals and just building your network and becoming the badass that you're meant to be. Love it. I didn't get into content yet, so maybe I just have to bring Christina back to talk about that one, because she had a really great video with us about content patterns that absolutely blew my mind. So, bringing her back for that one. But that is all for today. Thank you so much, Christina. This was an absolute blast.
Oh, this was fun. Thank you.
And thank you to everyone who came in and asked those amazing questions. Laura, I don't know what a casino presenter is, but I want to be one now.
I worked for Harrah's Resort, Southern California, and I literally presented about the Players Club. So anybody who ever went to Harrah's Resort, Southern California, and went to the presentation knows who I am. So I was famous, but hey.
I love this so much. All right, guys, the recording will remain in the Facebook group for y'all to check out. So feel free to go back and rewatch and write down all of these nuggets. I will be expecting you on the DM podcast. I expect y'all to be posting about all of this stuff, videos. I'll even make a video. And I don't make videos.
You make good videos when you do make videos.
A little bit. But thanks so much for coming, guys, and have a fantastic weekend. Oh, also, as a little bonus, next week, we are joined by Mickey herself as our guest. Content, copywriting, red lipstick.
To go block out my calendar and make sure I will be there.
We can continue this great vibe we have today.
Yes, absolutely. Me and Mickey always have good vibe when we're in a room together.
Nothing but good vibes. All right, y'all, have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.